we're back. Back on the show, revamped on a whole new set.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do this again.
Let's do it.
It's been a year and a half, 2 years, too long to really count, but we're back at it.
We're on such solid ground, right? Like, we think we are, but yet at any moment something could just go wrong. Like, just like that, like the power went out, or like we lost batteries. But like
for a second I was like, oh, please don't, just don't, And I was thinking about like, what would my life be if like my building went down?
the real game is to like get out of hourly wage, right?
Yeah.
And get into
Make your own
like
business.
passive revenue. You need to be making money while you're not working hours. Like, you need to have a product or a service that you can sell that while you're sleeping, you're making money.
Yes.
So like, that's obviously the goal.
In case the audience
try to get this deal.
doesn't remember what you're writing a book about, could you elaborate?
Physics book. It's a physics metaphysics book. So
Metaphysics book?
Physics metaphysics.
You mean metaphysics?
Metaphysics and physics. I was actually thinking right now in the kitchen too. I was thinking like, almost feel like there's a big mask or a big like, not facade, but like, a big
the Iron Curtain.
Yeah,
you ever heard it?
Yeah, like curtain that's kind of like shielding us. You know, like, and like the government and physicists and probably people who are in the know probably really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
most of our inventions have become because we thought that, man, wouldn't it be great if I had a little box that I could just call people and talk to them rather than like send a letter?
What do you think is going to be the next revelatory tidbit in, say, the next 10 years, 20 years? Because it's 2023.
I think it's happening right now. And
what do you think
it's not growing fast enough.
The GPT chat?
Yeah.
Or what is that called?
GP, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Chat GPT. GP.
What does that stand for?
I don't know.
Let's ask it to write a poem.
It's really good at that.
Write a poem.
About what?
Ask it to write a Valentine's Day poem.
Oh my God. You do it.
What our love will become, and to share it with you under the moon and sun. Happy Valentine's Day, my love so true. I'm so grateful to have started dating you. Whoa,
dude, that's pretty good, yo.
Pretty good.
He's gonna implant shit in your brain so you can hear it in your head.
Nobody wants that though.
Yeah, I kind of want it.
No.
I kind of
want it, but the majority of the population.
No, I think they do.
Nah, just by
I mean, you already carry it everywhere.
I'll tell you what I want to invent. I want to invent an orb that connects to a watch on your hand, right? Or a little gauntlet, like a little piece of machinery that's like this big, that essentially has like a digital readout, and this orb is connected to you, and it has like a certain radius that you can give it, and it flies and charges itself. So like essentially it's a little orb, and when you come home, it docks itself and charges itself when it needs to be charged. But besides that, this thing floats around you, and it's your coach, so it can become whatever you want it to be.
If we hit a level like that, I feel like we're gonna not even need to do all that shit. Like our lives are just gonna be so much more advanced. Our lifestyles to like, I mean, I guess you would want to make stuff still, because as a human, but I feel like AI is going to be so much better at making stuff that you're like, it's not really a career. It's just something I like to do, because imagine what kind of jobs could you possibly do that the AI can already do better? iRobot. Did you ever read the book?
Never read the book. I love the movie. I cried the first time I watched it, dude. I actually really cried the first time I saw it.
Really?
When it came out? Yeah, a little bit. I thought it was so good when that robot, I don't know if he died at the end, but yeah, like they shut him down or he gave his life or something like that. Will Smith, and I was like, oh,
right,
robot.
Right. Well, the book apparently is nothing like the movie almost, because they Hollywood it.
Yeah.
They Hollywood the movie because Will Smith was in it. They were gonna make it like Ex Machina. You know how Ex Machina is like, you gotta fucking sit down and listen. Just listen to what they're saying, and you see the fuckery.
I see. Well, I see what you're trying to say is that if it's one group, then nobody's fighting.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, in
if
a
it's
way.
all one people,
If we can all recognize we're human,
right?
we're already there. We're like, okay, we're all
Right.
human. Let's just live in peace and prosperity.
Right.
But because people are not geared that way, I feel like we need to wipe. I'm American. I speak English. If you're from fucking, wherever you speak some other language, I don't fucking like you. I can't communicate with you. There's no trade. So I'm going to wipe you out. And now I have all your shit and I'm going to exchange that for all this other stuff.
What's funny is language is probably the biggest thing. Like if we all spoke the same language, we would probably be united.
Where I see myself in a year, I like to build up the show more, and I like to see where it could lead me to. And honestly, even if it doesn't become profitable, I just don't see myself doing anything else that's fun, Like, this is fun for me. Like, I like talking about this shit. Like, I mean, how often do we have a long conversation with each other like this to talk about ideas in some way?
I mean,
Like,
we do, and like just smoking or drinking or hanging out, and because we live together, obviously. But
right.
yeah, it's not often that you really get to like be this focused in on it. That's for sure. We're very like, this is a very focused way to like have a conversation. Big thing this year is like get the book done. I need to start creating a career and sources of income that I can so I can sustain myself long term. So I see myself this next year definitely having the book published by February of next year, easily. For sure, I want the book being published by next year and earning passive income and living with.
It's funny. Like, did you imagine we were gonna be here a year ago? Do you think? Do you think?
Last year I was engineering, just coming out of being involved in COVID.
Right. And then like you meeting this girl kind of restructured your whole idea of the future,
True.
Like I'm saying that I want to build a podcast and doing all this stuff. This is just my idea right now. If I had to like give you an answer, that's my idea.
Yeah. What if you get a girl pregnant in the
Exactly.
month? Boom, everything changes.
Everything changes. You know what I mean?
Well, not doing a podcast anymore.
Earthquake.
Yeah.
Or, natural
exactly.
disasters.
Right.
It's like all this other shit that, COVID again. It's like, shit. Like.
Anything could change fast. I could sit here every night and tell my girlfriend like, hey, I can't hang out tonight. I need to finish my book. And I can spend 6 hours every night. I have the next 3 days off. I could spend 12 or 16 hours out of the next 3 days and write and get a bunch of chapters of them knocked out and spend all my nights off. And you'll be like, if you want to come over, you can hang out over here, but I got to write. I'm writing. I got to get this book done. And I could finish this book in 3 weeks if I wanted to. And then be tenacious and create cover letters and find a literary agent and get this thing published in 2 months. I could do it, but I don't. Why? Because there's a certain level of, like you said, leisure that we want to enjoy. We want to do work. We're not, there is a certain balance. So that's the trick is we want to enjoy life to some degree.
The problem is that you got to outweigh it with all this work. For the one night you party, you got to do 2 days of hard work, You gotta fucking, you can't just be balanced out. It's like you work hard one day and then you party hard one day. No, it's gonna be 2 working hard days and then 1 party day, Or like 5 days of eating straight, like fucking clean. And then the weekends you fuck off and you have fun, We're like, fuck, dude. But like, I just had a shitty day at work. I just want to drink. I want to get fucked up. I just want to loosen up,
Right.
And then once you get loosened up, you want to watch a movie and you just want to lay
That's
down.
the
and then
slippery road. That's the tricky part. I'm trying to get better at that too. It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's crazy. But, that's what makes us humans too, like flawed. If we were perfect, we would be a program.
Yeah. I have like, my thing is like, it's like not a back burner drive, but it's a nagging voice where it's like, it's not, some people have like a coach in their head. It's like, go, 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 do it. Mine's like did you do that? Did you remember to do that? So it's like it's there, but it's not like it's not as loud. You know, it's like it's like someone that's like the the person that's driving super hard.
Right.
I feel like in their head there's someone's like, you got to get that shit done, soldier.
Yeah. Exactly like that. And I feel like certain people have higher peaks and lower and higher valleys than we do, or in.
And I think it's just about asking yourself, what do you want? Like if you ask yourself what you want, and you can really be honest with yourself about what you want.
In a way, you are doing what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way, so like, every time you're lazy and you say you want this thing and you want to get it done, but right now I don't.
But I think that you got to continually ask yourself, what do I want? So it's like when you're at any, like, you got to get in the habit of asking yourself, what do I want? Like once or twice every hour. Because then if you're doing that, then, if you are fucking off, if you're playing video games or hanging out with your girl or going to the beach or, whatever, doing something that's not quote unquote work or, your craft or whatever, then you can ask yourself and be like, is this what I want right now? And be like, yeah, this is what I want. I really do want to be, hanging out with my friends and drinking or, shooting the shit and cuddling or playing video games or watching a movie. And you're like, yeah, this is what I want. I choose this. But then sometimes you might be doing that and you'd be like, no, I don't really want to be doing this. I'm just doing it because I'm doing it,
Right.
and I'm going to stop now. And then you can like refocus your attention. So I think you got to continue to ask yourself, like, is this what I really want? And be honest with yourself. And if it is, then don't be mad at yourself for having fun. Don't be mad at yourself for doing something you enjoy.
I sometimes like wonder how people see me, You ever like wonder, like you ever see your reflection in a public space?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, that's how I look like.
Yeah.
Like how am I getting perceived by other people? Like I'm trying to be kind. Right. I'm trying to be generous and accommodative and charismatic.
Yeah.
And all those good words. But at the same time, I don't know how to do it in every situation, I don't know how to do it well in every situation. And sometimes I see myself in a reflection and I'm like, oh shit, that's me. That's how I look like today. That's the jacket I chose to wear. Or is this good? Could I wore something better? Could I said that better?
Sure.
Like there's gonna be mistakes, right?
Yeah, talking about perceptions too. Like, what do you see for the podcast? Like, how do you want to be perceived? Like, what's the vision? Do you have a specific like audience for the podcast, or is it just like, because I know we had originally done Ordinary World, which is more like kind of like talking about anything and everything,
right?
Which is great. But then, I mean, I know obviously like UFC, you like philosophy. I don't know. Yeah, what's your vision for the podcast as you go forward over the next year?
My biggest goal with the podcast right now is not to be fake.
Just be
genuine.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of people that go into this realm, that they are captured somehow, either by the audience or by this one thing that was successful and they just keep doing it. I want to be me in some way. And whatever I don't know how to be me without just being me and not like, there are certain things that I've said no to, that I could have had in the podcast. There are certain things that, these people want to be on the podcast, but I don't see any value or I don't find them interesting
so maybe it doesn't have to be anything then. So maybe it can be whatever you want it to be then? Kind of like Joe Rogan's thing? Like,
yeah. I mean, like the whole setup of this is kind of like Joe Rogan's. I love Joe Rogan's setup. I love that he has the table and you're like looking at each other and we're talking as if we were like at a restaurant or something.
Like I like your approach to where it's like a Joe Rogan approach, but how do you build an audience without having like specific
things we
people
talk about
on that are like, maybe because he does have specific people on that are like very topic focused,
right?
So I'm curious, like how would you grow
through
your podcasts?
It definitely depends on the person I have on. Okay. I mean, the people that I've had on so far have been just friends from work,
right? And
none of them are specialized in a certain type of subject or a certain type of profession. Was the only reason they agreed to be on the podcast is because they're my friend, and I told them, hey, we're gonna have drinks and we're gonna hang out and talk some shit, you know. And I think that's important too, because it's hard to get a vision of the public if the public never speaks their vision, you know. Like, the public is you and I, and anybody else that's not in a high status position, which is what I mean about people that are specialized in certain subjects. Those people specialized in those certain subjects, I feel like they have a lot of content already out there, and you can really, like, you know, in a way decipher how they would act and how they would answer certain questions, versus people like you, how, like, nobody's listening to your opinion, but I want to hear your opinion and I want to share it with the world. And it's important to hear your opinion because you matter too in some way, you know. Do want to have people with professions though, you know. I do, like, for instance, I like to learn more about history. I like to have a historian on and learn about certain things about America, learn about certain wars or certain scriptures or something like that, you know. But I don't know anybody like that. And even if I did know them, I don't know if I can get them in here to speak to me about certain things they know, you know. Like, I think that's a process of developing the show to then get to that point. I think I should still be fishing for those people, which I will be, but I'm not banking on that. And it's like, oh, I'm not gonna continue the podcast because nobody wants to be on it. I've had that idea, I've had that thought, you know, implanted in my head before, where, like, it really isn't worth it. It's not worth, you know, I could sell this and get pretty good money and invest that into something, into the stock, and then that will make me money over time, you know. But it's like, I feel like I'll be depressed. Like, I wouldn't have a thing I do, you know. I feel like this is a hobby. I don't like this phrase, but it speaks a lot about our position, or anyone's position, is that we all have our own lane, and our lane is what we know. And we know we don't know certain things outside this lane, but then we don't know what we don't know. And that's what's just dark. Like, we have an idea that there's things over there, but we don't know at all. Like, we cannot even imagine some things, you know? And these people can illuminate some of that path.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's what makes podcasting so fun. Is you're tapping into that area of the unknown. Because I feel like now that I've been writing for a little bit, I feel like as you write and as you endeavor on any craft, you sharpen your skills. And so my appreciation of my own theory and my own hypotheses has gotten tighter and more succinct, and I'm able to describe it and articulate the way in which I'm approaching this whole process better. And so it'll be fun, you know, like even just a year ago compared to a year and a half ago, whenever we did our last podcast, you know, it'd be fun to, like, revisit some of the similar topics that we kind of had and ideas that we've shared, and kind of, you know, re-articulate ourselves.
He brought up an interesting point, and it's true. I'm sure it's true. I haven't done the research, but tipping started because wealthy people wanted a special service. And wealthy people will go to restaurants and specifically go to waitresses and tell them, hey, I'm going to give you $20 on top of this, but give us incredible service. Always checking on us. Bring us new drinks as we finish the drinks, and I'll pay you. Don't worry about it, you know? And that's how it started. They're like, oh, shit, now this person's coming in. We know that. And we know that they're going to give me extra money on top of what I already make. So I'm going to give them a great service, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then that,
because
that went across the board then, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, now tipping's a part of everything, you know? I mean, some people, some countries,
in a reason.
Welcome back to the show, guys. And there's more coming.
100 more seasons. Mario Martinez show.
Dude, did you hear about what happened with
what's
George
up?
Roland or whatever his name is?
What happened? Are they back or what?
No, bro. They took
done?
him off.
What do you mean?
They got rid of
Canceled?
him. They canceled him.
No way.
Let me
All
bring.
right, this needs to be on the next episode.
Okay, let's just.
We're
put it
about
on.
to we're about to do the Rick and Morty episode next time, and we're gonna check out my experiment. We're gonna talk more about that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hear more from Mario.
All right.
Let's do this.
That's the good close.
I believe in you.
All right. Peace.